I had shaved my head, and I was playing a soldier in a play, and I'd lost weight, and I'd shaved my head, and I was playing this army person. They called me up and going, "We have to do a reshoot. You're gonna end up with a girl." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I shaved my hair, and anyway, so they flew me out to Los Angeles. They put this ridiculous wig on me,
and poor Andrew is faced with the wig. They made a wig for him. They did the best they could, but God help him, it made him look like a mushroom.
I think if they knew that we'd still be talking about Pretty in Pink 20 years later, they would have paid for a much nicer wig.
Should we dance?
Wouldn't be unheard of. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I thought it would ruin the integrity of the film. It's about that doesn't happen, and but I was wrong again.
We shot it, and even then we didn't have enough time to really shoot everything we wanted to. So in fact, at the end, when at one point I reached down to hold Molly's hand, that's not my hand. That's the AD's hand. And if you watch the film now, it's like this old wizened crone hand comes in. It's like, what? How did John Cryer's hand get so messed up?
That kiss at the end, I remember that very clearly. That was the last thing we did, and that was on a soundstage. They just put a car on, and I think the batteries died, so they had to have a battery pumping because the lights were on in the car. And I just remember that kiss and the camera being way far back. And thinking at the time, oh, this is a lovely way to end.
The minute we cut it together, we looked at it together. Ned Tannen came in from upstairs, and we all looked at it, and John was like, "We got it." And Ned said, "We got it." And I didn't know when we tested the movie in the audience. Just nuts.
Stucky.
Go ahead.
The lesson for me is, from then on in, particularly in a love story, is if I'm watching each scene in a love story I'm doing, and it ain't cooking between those two the way it's supposed to be, then I'm not going to be able to force it later. It has to be there. The chemistry has to be there. The chemicals have to be there.
Yo! You've been replaced.
Well, I think that Ducky should have ended up with her or me. The really straight guy, I don't know. It looked like a Nowheresville to me. I think, you sort of pull for her to end up with Ducky because, when he falls back on her bed and he says, "Oh, I love this girl, I just love her," you want her to love him back because his love is true.
I had always felt a little bit gypped because now it's like, oh, now they want the story to end with her and Andrew coming together? What's up with that?
You told me you couldn't believe in somebody who didn't believe in you. I believed in you. Always believed in you. You just didn't believe in me.
Andrew's character does, he does redeem himself. He does make a mistake. Should she have ended up with Ducky? I don't know. She was not attracted to him.
I think if you're going to do a story about, love across the divide of class, it kind of has to work. Otherwise, you're saying something really wrong, And, but it's funny because many people regard that as this great injustice. Like, oh, she should have gone with Ducky at the end, and they come up to me angry, red-faced.
Yeah, but those people are wrong. I mean, it really could have been no other way. The movie is a fairy tale. I love you. Always. So I think it sort of ends the only way it can end. Really. Maybe it was a more pure sort of ending the other way with Ducky, but I don't think it was less human. Certainly.
Just because you loved someone and just because somebody's a really good friend doesn't mean necessarily that you're supposed to date them and marry them. I think if there's not that spark there to begin with, it's not something that shows up later.
Andy.
Excuse me.
He came here alone. Okay, you're right. He's not like the others.
I recall that Howie and I sort of debating whether we could get away with me looking right at the camera. And we said, what the hell? You know, what the hell? And that was a moment of thespianic hubris. But we got away with it because at that point you bought into who Ducky was so much that you let him bend the rules a little bit. It's the end. Why not? And that actress actually across the way was Christy Swanson, who ended up being Buffy the Vampire Slayer and doing quite well for herself.
The reason that Kirsty Swanson is there is that we felt that Ducky had to get something. So we put in this beautiful woman who goes like that, and he goes over to her.
Not only was this movie 20 years ago, people, but it's just a movie, and, it's not, the war atrocity, it's like, this is, she went with the guy that she wanted to be with the whole friggin' movie. Live with it, and don't worry, Ducky did